Hi everyone, I'm Jerry Bonds, and today I'd like to take you on a tour of central Oklahoma that captures the differences that are being made in our communities with the help of ACOG, the Association of Central Oklahoma Governments, and why those differences matter. But before we get too far, there's somebody I think we should meet first. Let's go say hi to Mark Sweeney, the Executive Director of ACOG, and he is one busy man, believe me. I hear he's getting ready for his 8th meeting today. Whew. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Jerry.
Nice to finally meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you too.
Heard a lot of great things about you, and you're going to teach me a few lessons today.
Well, I hope so. That sounds great.
The first one is simple, and you probably get asked it 100 times, but
sure.
Would you just define the acronym ACOG? Would you define it for us? What is it?
Absolutely. ACOG is the Association of Central Oklahoma Governments, or as we say, ACOG for short. Like I said, we love acronyms around here. But ACOG is unique. It's designed to serve our cities and counties in the greater Oklahoma City metropolitan area. And we serve roughly about 50 communities and about 4 counties.
Wow.
But our service area actually kind of goes beyond that. We're helping cities and counties to access funding both on the state level and the federal level. And we seek to solve problems that are regional problems that no separate entity can solve on their own, like air quality or transportation related issues or 911 services. We have a plethora of opportunities to help our communities in ways, especially for our smaller communities who have limited staff, limited resources. But we're also a great complement to our larger cities like Oklahoma City and Norman and Edmond, where we're able to help them with issues that go beyond their boundaries.
So you're talking about issues and helping these communities. So what are some of the big challenges that these communities are facing right now?
All of the communities, even though there are a lot of federal grants available at this point in time, and that's kind of cyclical to begin with, but it's always a funding issue that usually faces most of our communities. Funding issues for very fundamental things like water and sewer improvements, as well as transportation improvements. But it's always an attempt to try to find an approach that will fairly distribute the funds and to truly address where there are major problems. Sometimes people don't understand. Our greatest tool as a council of governments is to educate people, to educate the public and our decision makers, our leaders, our politicians, to help them make good decisions. That's our goal. And to look out ahead in the future and see what issues are about to arise on the horizon.
So when I think of all these members and partners, the word that comes to mind to me is it must be collaboration.
Yes.
How do you get that to happen?
We're unique. I always tell people ACOG is where government works. But at ACOG level, the Council of Governments level, we come to this with a different mentality. We come together, even though we have different political philosophies and different perspectives, we come together to solve common problems, to identify those problems we mutually share and to find a common sense solution.
So this becomes kind of like an oasis here.
It does. I often refer to it as a mini UN because this is basically where we basically come together trying to put our political perspectives to the side, finding ways to solve those common problems.
How refreshing.
It is, and strangely enough, it is we do make great progress because the cities and counties all coming in here, being represented, put on their regional hat to share the resources and to help each other.
I can't thank you enough for teaching me all kinds of lessons today, and I'm really impressed with what I've learned about what ACOG is doing. And we're about to see some examples of that.
Absolutely.
Right now.
We have some great examples out there.
And that means that our next stop is a little bit north of us at the bike lanes in Edmond. Okay, here we are in the city of Edmond, and right behind me are the beautiful brand new Ayers Street bike lanes. And if I'm not mistaken, this is Mayor Darrell Davis coming our way. Hi, Mayor.
Hi there.
I am so glad you stopped by, just in my perfect spot here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Tell us a little bit about how long these bike lanes have been open, because they are absolutely spectacular.
This is the first year that the bike lanes have actually been open.
What gap did it bridge? Because I know there's a very definite purpose in building these.
There's been a gap between UCO, the campus, and downtown Edmond, and we're hoping this bike lanes help bridge that gap, that the students and the residents from both sides will use them to come back and visit with each other.
Yeah, the connection between the two.
Correct.
Okay, so what are you finding in the way of activity? Have you seen a lot of riders? You're one of them.
Yes, what I've seen is that a lot of students are using the routes, the lanes, to go back and forth to class, to go to the restaurants, to go to their apartments.
Okay, and obviously this costs money.
Yes, it does.
Where did it come from, and how did that all come about?
We were able to apply for a transportation grant with ACOG, and we're big proponents of what ACOG is doing for the region. And so we applied, and we were fortunate to receive funding.
Okay, and they fund other things as well, but this was very special.
Correct. We have other transportation projects. We have other actual trail projects, not bike lane projects, that ACOG has also helped us with.
You know, it's really been fun to meet you. I'm sorry I don't have a bike tour. I'd just go off into the sunset with you. Thank you.
Well, next time, let's work on that.
All right, let's do that.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Next stop, we're headed to Oklahoma City and the Embark CNG bus fueling station. Hi, Jesse. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Thanks for having us here.
Yeah.
We've been all about transportation today, from the new bike lanes in Edmond and now here to Embark and these impressive new buses. What makes this bus fueling station so special?
Yeah, so with this bus fueling station, it really allows us as an agency to control our own destiny when it comes to fueling our buses, right? So in the past, if we wanted to fuel our CNG buses, we'd have to go off-site to a different city facility to be able to do that. But with this facility, we're able to do that much more efficiently and effectively.
Okay, so I've been reading and learning a lot about how Oklahoma City might violate the EPA air standards pretty soon. How does this help?
Yeah, so our CNG buses, when compared to our diesel counterparts, emit about 22% less CO2 emissions and about 90% less nitrous oxide emissions. But really, if you think of it as a whole, as a public transit agency, we have much more impact on air quality, right? So if you think about it, folks that are riding the bus, that's less single occupancy cars on the road, right? And so with that, that means that there's fewer people on the road, fewer congestion on the roadways, and just much better for air quality.
Okay, so what motivated Embark to make this choice to cleaner options?
So it's really the initiative of our board, our Central Oklahoma Transportation and Parking Authority board. Back in 2016, they put forth an initiative to convert all of our vehicles over to alternative fuel, so whether it's CNG or electric vehicles, with the goal of meeting that by 2025. And we're currently in the process of doing that. About 67% of our vehicles are currently alternative fuel, whether that be CNG or electric vehicles. And we have several grants in place that are going to allow us to replace all of our diesel-fueled vehicles by 2025.
I'm really curious, how many people actually ride these buses every day? I think that's going to surprise everybody, right?
Yeah. So on average, we average about 9,500 people per day.
How many?
9,500 per day.
Okay.
Yeah, and about 250,000 a month.
That's incredible. And what about the funding for this?
Yeah, so it's really a partnership, right? So we partner with ACOG to help fund this $3.7 million CNG fueling station. But it's really a partnership between ACOG and Oklahoma City City Council and the COPTA board and other agencies.
Well, you have taught me a whole lot more about public transportation, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for letting us visit.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Okay, right now it's on to road construction. We're off to Harrow Road in Oklahoma County to learn about a REAP project, R-E-A-P, and that stands for Rural Economic Action Plan. So here we are on Harrow Road in Oklahoma County, which is a project funded by the ACOG Rural Economic Action Plan. And with me is Commissioner Carrie Bloomer, thanks for taking this walk with me on this sunny day.
Thank you for coming out here.
Nice day, beautiful stretch of road that you're going to tell us about. And hopefully you're going to teach me a lot. So,
I hope so.
All right, so one thing that I would love to know is, in my studying, I thought that REAP grants were for communities of 7,000 or under. So how would this stretch of road, Oklahoma County, qualify?
So REAP grants are for those smaller communities of 7,000 and under, but counties can also apply, maybe on behalf of a small town, on behalf of a school district, because the counties are responsible for taking care of unincorporated roads, areas that are not within a city. So Oklahoma County applied for this and received it, and we selected this road for our REAP project.
Okay, and speaking of this road, why this particular stretch of road? What about that?
We were approached by several school districts, Luther and Hera, because this is a bus route. And it is very important to make sure that our bus routes are safe, kids get to school safely, and we felt like it was a very worthy project for us to do, so that's why.
So how does this fit in with the infrastructure goals that you have in the county?
So as a result of this REAP funded project, our county crews are actually going to do more work to the north in the next couple of months. So this kind of spurred us on to even take care of a larger portion of this road.
So based on that answer, I think I already know the answer to this question, but why is the REAP funding and continuing it so important to these rural communities around here?
A lot of our smaller communities and our rural communities just don't have the funding to take care of their infrastructure. These small towns rely on sales tax and they need other sources of funding to really take care of their roads and bridges. Same with the county. We rely on REAP grants as well to take care of some of these rural roads. And so we are always so grateful for the REAP program, and we really hope it continues.
And I am grateful for this great time to get to know you and to learn about this and to walk on this gorgeous day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jerry.
Next stop, we're off to Luther to check out some new fire protection equipment. Hello, gentlemen.
Good morning, I'm Joe Figueroa.
Nice to meet you.
Jeff Choate.
I hear you have some awesome fire protection equipment to tell us about. So
Yes, ma'am.
let's hear it.
Well, so the Luther Fire Department in the town of Luther, we have partnered with ACOG and with Forestry to obtain a few large vehicles for us for suppression in the wildland urban interface.
They're pretty impressive back here.
Yes, they are. So we actually have quite a few big trucks. When you think of a fire department, you always think of the big red trucks. Well, we've got quite a few of those. Out here in Luther, we do have a lot of wildland areas. We have ravines, we have rivers. We have different areas that are harder for us to access. With the vehicles that we've obtained from Forestry with the help of ACOG, we can get those things in anywhere. The one specific that we were talking about today, we have what is a light tanker. And by saying that, it has 1,600 gallons, which makes it a lot bigger than a normal brush truck, but it's not as big as a normal tanker that has 3,000 gallons.
Okay, so Jeff, how does ACOG actually contribute to rural fire departments in central Oklahoma like Luther?
As a ACOG employee, I'm administrator through the forestry department for these programs, several different programs. There's funding, there's trucks, there's property that we can help these small fire departments get. The newer program, they actually will get the truck from us after we place it, depending on needs and funding. And once all that is over, Forestry will actually give them the title to that truck, give them ownership to that. So that's been a huge asset for these small town fire departments that don't have a lot of the funding.
So it boils down to collaboration, right? How does that work?
To me, that's a lot of support, making that working relationship with our fire departments and our city leaders and our legislators and that kind of thing, and being there to support them with trucks and grants and whatever we can do to assist these small departments.
The most important thing, Chief, is how this new equipment helps in emergencies and disasters. Can you give us some examples?
So specifically speaking about 745, that truck will be able to do so much for us in the aspects of fighting wildfires. It can either be used to fill up trucks, brush trucks, smaller ones that usually have about a 300-gallon tank on them normally. That one has 1,600 gallons. So it can refill up to 4 or 5 trucks, possibly, depending on spill and everything like that. That gives us the ability to possibly refill trucks closer to the heads of the fire versus having to pull those brush trucks back out to a command post where we have all of our water station, and it takes a little bit less time from them having to be away from the fire line.
So what about local leaders and the community? How do they support this whole effort?
Getting people that care is the biggest thing. When you have people that care, they're in organizations like ACOG or organizations like forestry, things like that. If they care, they're going to try to help out. When you have small departments, small communities like ourselves, it's hard to buy some of these big ticket items. If you were to go out and buy a brand new engine today, have it spec'd out and built, you're looking between $300,000 to $750,000 to build a fire truck. They're very expensive items. With the vehicle that we were able to get from ACOG, with the help of ACOG and from forestry, we have roughly, give or take, $8,000 to $12,000 in that truck, and that's paint and all the other stuff we've put into it. And that is a drop in the bucket compared to what it could be if we had to go out and purchase the truck ourselves as a town. So ACOG and then forestry, all those guys that are going to be able to support us, and it's not just words, but they actually do it with actions, and that's a big deal for us.
Well, it's been a pleasure and a privilege to meet both of you today. Thanks
Yes, ma'am.
for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Time now to step into the future with next generation 911 training. So it's back to ACOG headquarters for our last tour stop. Hi, you're Robin, right? And Kristen.
Yes,
nice
ma'am.
to meet you both. I understand you're a great team.
We like
to
working
think so.
together.
Yes.
And this is the 911 Institute of Oklahoma. And you train dispatchers from all over the state?
Yes, we train dispatchers from all over the state. We also train dispatchers from federal agencies. We offer national certification classes. We have trained over 1,200 dispatchers since 2012.
That's a lot
It
of
is a
training
lot.
and a lot of people. Okay, and now an even bigger program, right? Because we have the regular 911, and then this is called the Next Gen 911
Next Generation
program.
911,
Okay,
yes.
so what's the difference?
The difference, the thing that will matter most to the citizens is the location accuracy. So right now when you call 911 on the current system, the FCC mandated that the location must be within 164 feet.
Okay.
When we get to Next Gen 911, the location will be within 8 feet. When
That's unbelievable.
when it's someone you care about in an emergency,
Yeah.
you want the response as quickly as possible. With Next Gen, that's what will happen.
So obviously, this must be very important to Central Oklahoma. Why is that?
It's important because we here at ACOG, at 911 ACOG, try really hard to make sure that every person who calls 911 gets response as quickly as possible. This will allow it because the location is, it's hardwired into your actual cell phone. It's not hitting a tower, it's coming from your cell phone. So that will be obviously quicker to find out where somebody is.
Okay, let's get to the training. And you are actually training, let me see if I get this right, 911 area ACOG employees only, right?
We have-
Dispatchers, rather.
Correct.
Yeah.
We have 22 agencies that are members of ACOG, and we will be training over 300 dispatchers with this new technology and to show them the new features of the next generation system. We want them to know this information so they can promptly give assistance to people that call 911 and need assistance.
Yeah, what does the training involve?
Well, we have 4 training stations that we use, and although they are in a training environment, we do provide, they know what an actual call coming in is going to be like, what a text call coming in is going to be like, and so they have real experience on what everything is going to look like when the call comes in and what the new features are.
And how long would that take, that kind of training?
Well, we started training in 2023. Again, we have 22 ACOG agencies that will be training, and we hope, we believe that the implementation will occur in 2024. And so we continue to train throughout the year and on into next year. And we're so excited to provide this next-gen technology to the citizens of Oklahoma.
Wow, I can understand why. That's just a great service that you're going to supply.
One thing that she and I are working on, because ACOG is composed of municipalities all around Oklahoma City. We're on different systems. So when we get Next Gen 911, Oklahoma City will not.
Oh,
It's up to them when they want to move to Next Gen. So we have to develop training for our dispatchers and their dispatchers, because we'll be using Next Generation 911, transferring to the old system. We don't want any of the information to get lost in the transfer. So we're working on that training. That should be done soon.
Okay, so Oklahoma City is separate and will have to develop their own
911.
Their own
Next Generation
911.
911.
Thank you both. I have learned a lot, not only from all the other people I've talked to today, but the two of you, and it was great to meet you.
You as well.
And now I have a few more questions for Mark, so let's see if we can catch up with him. There you are, just the man
Jerry.
I'm looking for.
Good to see you again.
We have had quite a day. You want to hear about it?
I do.
Okay, we have been to the bike lanes in Edmond, the bus fueling station, the REAP project on Harrah Road, the Luther Fire Department,
Yes.
and finally, back here for the 911 Institute.
You've had a busy day.
Yeah, but I learned a whole lot. How does ACOG make all this happen?
It is a challenge, but it's a challenge that I think we're very successful at. One reason it's successful is because I have a great staff. Strategically located people that have the ability to carry out and do the programs and to actually work with our cities and counties. And that professional level is always a tremendous benefit. But we also have the fact that we're strategic planners. None of this happens in a void. We plan ahead, we think ahead, so that we can deliver the best outcome for our communities. And then, another thing that's very important is board support. None of this would happen if my board did not give us the opportunity to branch out and to venture into new areas to be able to make a difference for those communities. And so all of that kind of comes together. But also on top of all of that is regional partnerships. ACOG can't do this in a void. We can't be able to accomplish anything by ourselves. We have to work with other organizations like the Greater Oklahoma City Chamber, OML, various state agencies, because by working together we have a greater impact and a greater outcome for our communities. But it's interesting to know that all the things I've told you don't happen without funding. If we don't have a proactive legislative agenda in which we deal with our legislators, explaining to them exactly what we need in order to help our communities, we'll get nowhere. So funding and having a legislative agenda that actually enables our communities to fully do what they're supposed to do is imperative to the success of this collaborative effort.